God brought together pastors in the Coachella Valley who had been divided, never worked together in any significant way. Brought them together to ask, what can we do together that we can't do alone? Many of them were discouraged and ready to throw in the towel, but God has done something new and united them with a vision.
Well, in our 12 years here, I feel that it has been a tough place to pastor. And I see an encouraging spirit, a spirit of unity. We've never had that.
I have two sons who are Naval Academy grads, and one of them was a F-14 pilot off the Abraham Lincoln when the Iraq War started. And my youngest son graduated in '95 from the Academy, and he's a Marine Corps light armored vehicle platoon commander stationed in Fallujah at the time. It was significant to me to tell the men in the room here at the church as we met that we had Marines in Fallujah praying for us here in the valley. We're fighting for God's kingdom and for our fellow soldiers in the Lord, and there's enemy-held ground here that's been in the enemy's hands way too long, and we need to take it back.
40, 50 churches have come together where pastors are coming together with each other. It's just thrilling my heart. It's like an answer to our prayers for a long time. And
as soon as I wrote down the person's name, I came across that person. One way or another, there was a meeting that normally I would not have had. All of my neighbors, all three of my neighbors. I've never spoken to them hardly at all. I wave at them. And for the first time in 12 years, the neighbor that I wrote down borrowed a ladder from me. And we spent 20 minutes talking about real estate. We've never done that in 12 years.
And the first name I put on there, her name's Christy. When I first met Christy a few years ago, she was as close to clueless as you could be about God, about the church, certainly about Christ. For her, it was this odd, strange group of people out there. She'd never really attended church. Christy owns the coffee shop that I go into, and the next day I walk into that coffee shop, and Christy walks up to me, looks at me, breaks down, starts telling me, Pastor, my husband was just diagnosed with ALS. She opened herself to Christ. Pretty much ever since then, she and her husband have been attending church. They came forward to receive prayer a week ago Sunday, and they're now believers. And that was almost instantaneous. One of the keys to the success of this is that we're not doing it in isolation. It isn't just our church. We felt it had to start with us, in our attitudes, first with God and then toward each other, and then we can go to the congregation and bring a challenge to them. And I think bottom line, we're saying we're not asking the church to do anything that we're not doing, and that's critical.
Yeah, one guy's really tough. He has a lot of wild parties. He's really rowdy, and very irritating. And he came over with a golf club and wanted to sell it to me. I thought, what brought this on? And well, I put his name down on the bookmark, and so I bought a Callaway Big Bertha from him for $40, and so we formed a relationship. So,
God changed your heart about loving your neighbor.
Yeah, he changed my heart. I'm kind of like, now what do I do? How do I get into their home? How do I get them into my home? What's the next step, Lord? And that's what I'm waiting to see, how he's going to open that door.
It's amazing how God makes things grow. Started with 12 pastors, then 65 pastors, 40 churches with lighthouse walls and bookmarks, 25,000 bookmarks distributed, and soon service projects throughout a community of 700,000 people in the name of Christ, all in unity on the same weekend. 39 churches in one community reaching out in unity to transform their community. And already the pastors have been changed.
I feel like I have neglected my neighborhood big time. And there are people who've come and gone. One gentleman has passed away. I never knew his name. And I feel very responsible being a minister.
This is different. We're in this for the long haul, and it's very exciting. And the culture of our church in a matter of just weeks is already changing. I can't imagine, as we've made this 3-year commitment, what's the difference is going to be in our church.
If God could unite the pastors of the Coachella Valley together to reach out in unity and seek to love their community to Christ, can you imagine what would happen in your city, your town?
To any pastor that's watching this, take a risk. It's something that that's so critical today. We're losing the battle in so many communities. So many of us are doing this alone. So many of us are in isolation. So many of us have given in to competitiveness and American consumerism, and we've started to fall into the mentality of well, we're taking sheep from other pastors, and that isn't what it's all about at all. What this is about is reaching people who don't know Christ with the gospel, making more Christians and better Christians.
I know in my heart that God wants to take what's happened there to other cities across America and significantly impact and change those communities for Christ.